Broads Media.
Oh, man, it's one thing after the next. It honestly is. I can't stand it. It is so irritating. And this team loses to teams that they shouldn't consistently, and that's bothering the hell out of me. We're going to talk about it. Before we do, if you're new to the channel, as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate your support. I want to know, what stood out to you the most in this game? Down below in the comments section, what stood out to you when you watched this whole thing play out? Maybe it was the fourth quarter with Bogdanović. Maybe it's Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Doc Rivers. Give me a little description on what was the eye-popping, noticeable piece to this loss to the Atlanta Hawks. Real quickly, if you're looking to buy tickets, though, for any NFL, NBA, NHL games when they return, you can utilize the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off. Forget about those fees. Forget about, getting hit with, what? How come it's that? I thought it was going to be this. Don't worry about it. Promo code BROADS, SeatGeek's checkout page, no brainer. Get yourself to a game today. And then Broads Media, TikTok, check it out. Toss a follow. All right, I'm done. Enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. Another disappointing loss. That's what this team has become so far this season. Whenever you have 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, 32, 48, 76 people out, you're probably going to beat the 76ers. I don't know if they're just not mentally prepared to battle. I don't know if they just think they're going to walk over a bunch of squads. But whenever this happens, it's honestly embarrassing. And the Wells Fargo Center used to be a place where people were afraid to come here, okay? It was a spot where you knew it would be hectic, it would be hostile, the environment would literally blow through the damn roof, and now you got players just easily coming to town, destroying you, and then leaving Philadelphia with a big smile on their face. It can happen. Bogdanović down the stretch making these buckets, scoring straight points, can't happen. Joel Embiid, he needs to be sharper all around. He had an opportunity to hit down that jumper, and realistically, you take that same shot 10 times, he probably makes it 8 times. It rattled around and almost went in, but it was that type of night for him. He was not able to execute well enough, and it doesn't help when your teammates surrounding you. This team cannot shoot the basketball, and in the NBA, if you cannot shoot the basketball, it's going to be an issue. So let's look through this team from the three-point line, shall we? Furkan Korkmaz, who sucks, goes 0 for 3. Isaiah Joe, who is not very good, goes 0 for 4. Tobias Harris from deep, 0 for 6. Tyrese Maxey, who we all love, and in 34 minutes, he had 17 points. He had a major dunk where he was flying in the air, and he also had a beautiful step-back 3 that was impressive. Got to the foul line as well, so he showed you. And keep in mind, even Doc Rivers said after the game, and we'll touch on more on what he said in just 1 minute, but he talked about how it wasn't a goal of theirs to play him that much, but you kind of had to when you realized the circumstances. He was coming back, and that's why he came off of the bench, by the way, because of him coming back and trying to get back into rhythm and establishing things. That's why he did not start. It was more of a backseat, hey, let's ease him back into the action, but, they kind of had to pretty much throw him into the wolves there because of it, but he goes 1 for 5, and then Matisse Thybulle goes 0 for 3 from 3. When you're an opposing team and you see that that's what you're getting out of the supporting cast, think about how much easier it is to do what you need to do to Joel Embiid defensively, where, oh yeah, I'll live with Matisse Thybulle, I'll live with Tobias Harris, I'll live with these guys, I'll live with Furkan and Isaiah Joe. This is what you have out there. So of course, when Joel Embiid's backing down low and you see guys swarm him and basically bring all the heat in his direction, they'll live with any other alternative right now with ease, because they don't have guys that you can rely on shooting the basketball other than Seth Curry, really, and it wasn't like he had his best night either. When they played Boston, we touched on it. You had one bench point, 16 points or so were scored by everybody else, and then the three of Toby, Joel, and Seth scored all the points. It was great on that night, but that's not a sustainable way of winning basketball games, because nights like this happen where it's a little bit weaker of a night from those three guys, but who else is going to be a factor here? And nobody else can really step up. It's brutal. It really is. This three-point shooting team. What are we doing here? There's times where nobody even wants to shoot it. Oh, here's a wide open three. Nah, let's kick it. Oh, here's a wide open three. Let's pump fake. Nah, let's kick it again. Oh, let's not. I mean, they're not even willing at times to take wide open jumpers. This is the NBA. It's so frustrating to witness. It really is. But that doesn't mean that anything comes off of Joel. I don't think Joel Embiid approached tonight's game. I'm not going through, though, right? Like, I'm done with the whole debate with anybody else out there of, oh, Joel's not this, Joel's not that. I ain't having it. If you don't personally see what is so special about Joel Embiid from a big picture perspective, then I don't even want to have a conversation with you about the sport of basketball anymore, to be honest with you. So, before we start, oh, well, he stinks, because now there's a stat flying around, so I'm already getting these type of responses. Here's your stat. Including tonight, Joel Embiid is 1-18 in his career on game-tying or go-ahead field goal attempts in the final 5 seconds of the fourth quarter and in overtime. Only Kemba Walker, who's 0 for 25, has been worse on such shots since Embiid came into the league in 16 and 17, and this is minimum of 10 field goal attempts. So if you only have one shot opportunity, obviously that's not factored in, so minimum of 10. And to be honest with you, that stat kind of shocks me, but there's also, and this is according to clutch points, the NBA's points per game leaders in the clutch. Joel Embiid, 6.3 points per game, which is 1.5 points per game more than LeBron James. It's 1.8. Wait, hold on. That was 1.5. This is 1.8. Yeah, all right, I got my math right. More than Kevin Durant. It's more than Ja Morant. It's more than Jokic. So all around, and that's obviously more than just the 5 seconds, but he's been one of the most clutch in terms of clutch scoring, one of the most clutch players scoring points so far this season. So you can kind of find whatever angle you want to look at in terms of Joel Embiid. My point is, the dude's legit, all right? The dude's a superstar, and you need that type of talent. So I'm not going down that road after every single game and living game by game on, oh, 40 points, oh, he's stunk, oh, he's amazing, oh, I ain't doing it. We know, all right? If you know basketball, you know. So kind of maneuvering through the conversation from there, when you think about how this game started, it was sloppy, and boo started to rain down, and I was wondering if Miles Sanders was watching or not, because he probably would have been disappointed to hear the own fans of the Sixers let them know that, hey, you're playing piss-poor basketball. And how ironic, when that started to happen, they played completely different. Now they went to their bench, and there was some spark plug involved with Tyrese and Charles Bassey and some other guys who were playing with a little bit of attitude and a bit of edge, and the bench was in the plus today. Like, there were guys on the bench that did their specific role. But how ironic, when you hear the frustration of the fans, it seems to kick them in the ass, light a fire underneath of them, and then they show up and play a bit differently. It was tied at the half. There was a nice alley-oop to Matisse Thybulle, and I thought there that, hey, all right, it's sort of like with what happened against the Washington football team. You go down 10-0, but they're so depleted and they don't have enough pieces that eventually, as the 48 minutes play out, you'll naturally kind of find yourself and take over the game, and you'll just be the better basketball team by the end of it. But as soon as the third quarter started, it was sloppiness again from the starters, and it just got bad. At the end of that first half, in that second quarter range, all right, here's Tobias Harris. It looks like he's kind of finding himself building off of what we saw against Boston, and then at the end, I'm going, what the hell is Tobias Harris doing here? I swear to God, it honestly sounded like he was going to cry on the post-game press conference. I'm dead serious. I had to sit back and take a second and actually analyze his facial features, his eyes, his demeanor. Is he okay? Because this doesn't look right. This looks odd. This looks strange. So, that was baffling. And so was what Doc Rivers stated after the game. When he was asked about what happened, He goes, we had guys missing too. Doc. I don't care how much emphasis you put on that line or not. Reality of the situation is, what are you doing here? They're missing everyone and their mother. You're missing some guys, yeah. Niang, Andre Drummond, Shake Milton. You can't lose that basketball game, and you've been losing every basketball game to this point when you're playing teams that are barely having any of their players. Do I have to go through the list? So come on, Doc. I saw Kevin Kincaid of Crossing Broad tweet this out, and I think there's some legitimacy to this. When everything happened with Doc Rivers towards his end of the tenure in L.A., he was going to take a bit of a break. Well, why was that? Is he not 1,000% in? And now that you're pretty much going through not just a COVID-19 season once again, but you're going through the Ben Simmons issues. And there were some quotes thrown out there a couple days ago or so about, trying to find ways to get this thing figured out and to fill the roster basically with the big hole that is there right now, that glaring hole. Getting that figured out, and now let's see what we have when we can do that kind of thing. So I don't know. Is he getting bothered? Is he getting annoyed? Because it doesn't seem like he takes any accountability for what's going on here. Well, this is happening, and that's happening. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's your job to make sure that happens. Well, the pace is getting slowed down. Well, make sure they play with a faster pace. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. No? I hate when he does that. He's been doing that a lot lately. Well, what went wrong, Doc? Well, this went wrong, that went wrong, and this went wrong, and that went wrong. Okay, I get it. Sometimes it's just a flow of the game, and over 82 games, you can't fully put your fingertips on why certain things happen. I get it, right? I mean, I do. I honestly do. If everyone could just change things, snap their fingers, and make sure certain things don't happen, we'd be in a totally different universe and a totally different spot. You have bad games, but these common themes are over and over and over again, and now there's a period of time and a window that we've seen it consistently happen, where when this is the case, all right, Doc, I mean, enough with, fix it! It's hard to do when you don't have the players who can knock down shots, right? I mean, I think that's fair to say. So more personnel-based than Doc Rivers-based. Let's be very clear. To me, I see more problems with the roster construction at the moment, more so than the coach. But I still think the coach can do more than what he's doing, even with those circumstances, to be fair. Look, they had a lead in that fourth quarter. After Embiid knocked down some free throws, 90-86 was the score. But from there, they couldn't stop Bogdanović. And they were getting beat on the glass. It was a lack of effort and a lack of hustle and a lack of determination tonight. I don't know if they were just trying to... What the hell did I write here? I can't even read my own handwriting. That's why I kind of got distracted. But it didn't even look like they were prepared to play the game. Not at all. And that bothers me because as a professional athlete, and I'm the number one defender of it's the NBA, you'll lose games that you shouldn't. And I stand by that. But, this type of loss that we see over and over and over and over and over again against teams that don't have their players and their proper personnel. I mean, where's the internal fight from yourself as a professional athlete to go win a basketball from everybody? I don't care if you're Joel, Tobias, Seth, Matisse, Furkan, Isaiah, Joe. I don't care where you are on the depth chart. The fuck you doing? How does this happen over and over again? Come on. I'm watching Tyler Johnson be your best player, your best three-point option out there. Tyler Johnson? The guy who looks like he's from Delco and goes to Wawa on a Saturday at 6 a.m. with a high-vis shirt on so he can go do construction? That Tyler Johnson? Oh, man. But he looks better than Furkan Isaiah Joe. The hell's going on out here? So obviously, I'm bothered. Because this crushes you. Bogdanović, he's hitting those shots. And this team, they have so many good wins. They do. They have some good wins this year. These are the ones. I mean, if they just cashed in on 70% of these games where you're playing slop, Think about the difference on where they are. Well, this is part of their identity this year, so don't act like it's going to go away anytime soon, because this brand of basketball, it's been there for a bit of time. And I don't know, is there as much respect on Doc Rivers as there was after the Brett Brown season? You heard about Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, what others thought about that. You heard that there was a podcast and they were speaking about Niang, talking about Doc Rivers and the practices and whatnot. But in the NBA, you don't run through practices nonstop. You don't run through all that stuff. You don't. It's a different lifestyle. It's not AAU basketball at 16 years old. So as a professional, there's certain angles that is different here. And it shifts. It's on you as a multi-million-dollar man to kind of get this thing going with the fingerprints of a head coach. But look around the league at how many teams are running through deep practices throughout an 82-game schedule. It's not that way. Now, with that said, though, I wonder, is there being a loss of just feel and a loss of energy surrounding the Doc Rivers head coaching gig? I don't know. It's definitely not as sexy and it's not as appealing as it once was. That's for damn sure. And to be honest with you, for a head coach with this type of resume and with a head coach with this type of respect in the league, the fact that we're even having this conversation right now, well, it happened quicker than it probably should have. And let's be clear, $30 million less than everybody else in the cap because one guy decided, I don't want to play basketball. And then you don't have a lot of shooters. There's problems outside of Doc Rivers. And if those problems are fixed, are we having that conversation about Doc Rivers? I don't know. I honestly do not know the answer to that question. Because issue number one is what you have available. That's obvious. But, like I was saying, with that said, what you had available tonight, even with the three-point shooters that you have, you got to beat this basketball team. When's Furkan going to say, hey, I'm gonna do what I did earlier? Never, probably, because he stinks. What the hell is this garbage? Step up, somebody. All right, we're going to get to the Anytime Hotline calls. I'm fascinated to hear the response tonight. Before we do, DeSimone Jewelers, they are the greatest in the business. I got my fiance's engagement ring there. I went back for Christmas, Valentine's Day, her birthday, you name it. I go to DeSimone Jewelers. They're a family-owned business located in Haddonfield, New Jersey. Previously in Jewelers Row. Will, Lou, Nick, Mike, great people. I mean, A-plus people. They work with you to get the best design at the most reasonable price you will find in the market. Custom jewelry design, jewelry repairs, appraisals, watch repair, you name it. They can provide it for you. DeSimoneJewelers.com is their website. And if you tell them Broad sent you, they will hook you up. I had a couple people reach out to me in my Instagram DMs and said, Broads, oh man, you weren't kidding. I don't lie. I tell the people how it is. I'm always 100% with you listening out there. DeSimone Jewelers, their prices you can't beat, and they're so passionate about what they do. They love teaching it. You're not just a customer who walks in and they're trying to make a quick buck on you and, hey, let's bring in some cash and some revenue. No. Sit down. Let us teach you about what you're buying. Let's weigh out your options, why this is different from that diamond and, the price range. It is such a great experience for sure. And you feel more connected to what you're purchasing for your significant other. It's the holiday season. It's a no-brainer to check out DeSimone Jewelers and see what they have for you. Make sure you tell them that Broads sent you. All right, let's throw it on over to the people out there. I'm sweating. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sweating. I'm getting a little hot. I'm getting a little fired up. Shocker. That's what happens when you lose 98-96 to an Atlanta Hawks team with me on the other side.
Bro, these guys suck, man. I mean, it's bad enough that we lost to the Heat, who didn't have Butler, Adebayo, Hero, and all that. But to lose to the Hawks, man, by 2 points, it was pathetic. And who I did, why are you starting Korkmaz over Maxey? Like, come on, man. This thing is a joke. This really is a joke, man. On to next season. They suck.
Well, I'm not going to that level yet. I mean, obviously, my aspirations are not very high and thinking that this team's going to go win a championship or anything, but I'm not just throwing away the season and saying, fuck it, I'm never watching or anything like that. No, I'm going to grind it out because that's what I do. But why aren't they starting Maxey? Well, they made it kind of clear there that based off of the circumstances on where they were, Tyrese Maxey coming. Well, first off, we've all been talking about kind of staggering minutes between Maxey and Joel to maximize maybe both of them and maximize what they can do. So we've all kind of had that discussion in general. But the fact that they had their eyes set on a specific number just so Tyrese Maxey doesn't get thrown into it too quick, too early based off of not being on the floor for a little bit of time. And that's exactly what their mentality was, easing back into it. But because of where they were in this basketball game, they kind of had to go off the rails a bit, and they did. And is that the difference in winning this game or not? It's a 2-point game. I mean, Tyrese Maxey still played 34 minutes. So at the end of the day, how many more minutes were you really going to get out of him? 40? 41? I mean, he gave you a range. Let's see, just to put it in perspective, what he actually averages right now. If he played 34 minutes, he played 42 against the Heat. He played 30 against the Grizzlies, 30 against the Warriors, 26 against the Jazz. He averages this season, where are we at here? 17 points per game. Yes, I knew that. Why is ESPN's website so dumb? I'm a basketball reference guy. He averages this season, 2021, 34 minutes per game. So he basically gave you exactly what he averaged tonight. Starting him or not starting him, he played the amount on the floor that he averages so far this season. So, from that angle, it is what it is. I don't know why they do this, I don't know why. I mean, obviously there's a black cloud, and I keep using that phrase because that's exactly what it is, that's surrounding everybody right now. And the answer isn't just forget Ben Simmons and move along and never think about it again, because that's not the right answer here. But time is what it's going to take. It sucks. You're going to have to sit through pain, and we knew that, and we established that early on, and that's exactly what we're going through. So now we're experiencing exactly what we thought we were going to, but it's sort of, and I know it's cliche and it's kind of silly to say, but it's the short-term pain for the long-term gain of this Ben Simmons drama that we are sitting in. And once all that gets figured out and they bring back compensation that is reasonably fair to kind of plug in with certain holes and gain multiple players, if it is a trade where there's multiple teams involved, and you maybe grab some help to help out this bench that can't shoot the damn basketball, and you kind of help out in other areas and grab somebody that can play with Maxey and Joel and Seth Curry and all. All right, we'll see what ends up shaping up, and from there we'll have a brand new identity. But right now, it's hard for them to find an identity, and the answer isn't trade Ben Simmons to get anybody, so then that whoever anybody is slotted in. Oh, well, then you can at least form your identity. Your identity won't be good enough. Your identity will not be good enough if that's what you want to do. Is it better than this? Maybe, but being better than this is not the goal. I mean, yes, you want to be, if that's your sole goal, if we could be better than where they are right now, even if that's 1 step, 2 steps straight, no, not 1, 2, or 3. It needs to be 10. 10, that's the goal. Anywhere from 1 to 9 isn't good enough. It's 10. So how do we get there? It's not, we're 2 steps better, so that Ben Simmons trade was good enough. Nope. But what happens is when you lose these games, you start to get annoyed, and then you start convincing yourself this is what we should do when you got to stay on course. You do. There's a reason why there's blueprints out there. In any job that you do, construction, electric, you name it, plumbing, there's blueprints on how you get the job done. If you go off the rails, you ain't going to get the job accomplished, so don't be fooled. All right. What do we got?
What's up, bros? John here from South Jersey. Dude, this loss is just pathetic. And so let's get into the numbers real quick. We shot 6 of 27 from 3. Maxey 1 for 5. Isaiah Joe 0 for 3. Furk 0 for 3. Toby 0 for 5. You're getting paid $36 million to go 0 from 5 from 3, 5 from 14 from the field, and you get 16 points. Meanwhile, Atlanta had 16 turnovers, and we had 8 turnovers. Yet they had 17 points off turnovers, and we had 6 points. You got Bogey shooting 4 for 17 and 1 from 9 from 3. and yet somehow you lose that game. It can't be that close of a game. And it happens way too often with this team. And I'm sick and tired of it.
I agree. By the way, he shot 0 of 6 from the field or from the three-point line, not 0 of 5. But you're right. I mean, look, the Atlanta Hawks scored 98 points. Think about that. You should win basketball teams when the other side shoots less than 100 points or score less than 100 points. It's a winnable basketball game. It'd be nice if some of these guys could make their shots, and it changes everything. Think about playing right now, if you were playing the Sixers, think about how easy it is to win. Force the ball out of Joel Embiid's hands, and then have some of these guys take wide open looks. They're probably passing up anyway, and then take something even less efficient of a shot because they don't know what they're doing out there. I'm watching the ball swing around by the perimeter, and I'm losing my damn mind. Now let's look at the rebounds. They got out-rebounded 46-38. They had 11 offensive rebounds. Now keep in mind, Drummond's normally a glass eater, but something I mentioned out of Tobias Harris lately is he could rebound. There's nights where he gets 8, 9. Okay, he had 6. 6 boards. Bassey had 8. Good for him. 3-0 boards. He brought a little energy for you. Paul Reed in 6 minutes was plus 14. Your bench was all plus. Tyler Johnson plus 13. Isaiah Joe plus 1. I'll tell you what, talk about a golden opportunity to make a stamp in this league. For real, though, honestly, if Isaiah Joe was cashing in left and right, this is his job. This is his job. He is fully taking on this role and running away with it to the point where it's not even close. The fact that he's falling this short tells me a lot about where he really is. I apologize. That is a random-ass ad that just was thrown in there. But because that was on the ESPN site looking at the box score, and then it plays an ad there on the side where it's playing a video. But regardless, Isaiah Joe, it's telling you, now he's a young player. Nobody expected him to transform into this elite three-point shooter that you can rely on consistently. But I'll be honest with you, he's bricking threes just as much as Korkmaz. I expected a little bit more than this, to be fair. So he's just pissing away a golden shot here. Here we go, next one.
Tough loss tonight, bros. That was tough. I can't help but think that, like, Charles Bassey outplayed Joel Embiid. Like, he showed a lot more energy. You know, Joel was just, I don't know. It was weird. It was just, you think on a night like this, especially after the last game, that Joel would just dominate, but he did not have it going tonight, and he just didn't show a lot of energy, you know, so, yeah, tough loss. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Our roster just isn't good enough.
You're right. The roster's not good enough, and I feel the frustration with that. I don't know. I've done that a couple times as well where you're trying to analyze what's happening here. I don't know. It's tough to put your finger on it exactly, but as you keep kind of peeling back the layers, you get to the final frame, which is they're not good enough. Now, in terms of Bassey outplaying Joel Embiid or something, a role player who's very limited in NBA action, who's playing for his NBA life for a handful of minutes of running up and down the floor on this given night compared to Joel Embiid. Yeah, okay. For a handful of minutes, Bassey ran with a little bit more jump in his step than Joel Embiid did tonight, but that doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't tell me a damn thing. You know how many guys in this league at Joel Embiid's standards, and then there's role players who are playing for their live standards? You cannot compare the two by any means. So, yeah, Joel Embiid had a sloppy night, but what does that tell you big picture? And I'm not saying you're claiming this, but this type of statement is your point that Charles Bassey should be playing more than Joel Embiid. Like, what is the final thought between that? My thing is, it's irrelevant how Charles Bassey played compared to Joel Embiid. It's just the fact that Joel Embiid pissed away an opportunity to build off of that 40-point performance and that energy and that buzz that he created after that big win against the Boston Celtics. That's really it. He's been up and down. He's been all over the place, but I think a large part of that is sort of the way teams get to play him based off of the surrounding pieces. This is, quote, Joel Embiid and a bunch of shooters surrounded him. Well, a bunch of shooters where Tobias Harris isn't reliable. Seth Curry is, but there was a lack of a two-man game tonight, and he has his ups and downs as well. But all around, Joel and Seth Curry are your most reliable pieces. And then where's the shooters? That's what you need to be competitive with him. That's reality. That's what it is. If Joel Embiid's your number one guy down there, you need some spacers. So when teams bring help and they make sure the ball gets out of his hands, where is it going? It's going to players who are lethal weapons who can score the bucket, and then you have to stop doing that because the three-pointers are being made, and you'd rather live with the twos instead of the threes, and then they have to stop playing Joel a certain way, then he can start getting into action. And there were times where I'm thinking, you know what, Joel, at this point, just try and barrel through these double teams. Just try and mow them down, lower your shot. Don't be stupid about it where you're picking up offensive fouls, but maybe that's the way you kind of have to elect to go this, because you can't be relying on some of these other guys to knock down shots. They're not doing it for you, and this is kind of what happened. This is the result when there's no help at all. I mean, everybody kind of had a poor game other than Tyrese Maxey. That dunk was beautiful, man. I'll tell you what, when you saw the shots of his dad on the sideline too, come on, we all had that warm heart feeling now of, damn, that's got to be such a sick feeling. All right, we'll take one more.
I wanted to say that this team is driving me insane. I almost broke my 4K TV in front of my cocktail party that I had tonight, and I don't know anymore, man. Doc got me pissed off in his press conference that he had after the game. Oh man, trade Ben Simmons, trade. I don't know this team. I guess I'm gonna be looking out for the Eagles this year.
Oh, so you're going to, it's funny, how ironic is that? We're going to Eagles at this point. We're looking for the Eagles, considering where we were and our expectations were before the season began. That is pretty funny. Now, the cocktail party to the 4K TV breakage. Now, that's interesting. Now, of course, it did not happen. He almost broke it, but, you don't want to be that guy. I'm upset. I'm disappointed. I'm beaten down by what we've seen out of this franchise for this season. But come on, you don't want to have people over hanging out, maybe try and wheel some chicks, or maybe you got your loved one there with you, whatever the case may be. You don't want to be the guy that's breaking TVs because of a Sixers loss game 30 plus of the season. Let's breathe a little bit. The old me, maybe not so much breaking TVs, but throwing the remote, screaming. I had those phases. Now, I'm in such a different mentality with this, so I don't go through that anymore. But there was once a time in my life when I was a bit younger where that was the case. But you got to calm the emotions. Don't let them beat you down that much. We care. It's a lifestyle. There's a reason why they're tatted all over us here in the South Philly, in the South Jersey, Philadelphia area. But you spent some nice hard-earned money on that. Don't let them beat you down. You got to rise to the occasion. Find other ways to get out your frustration. Buy a microphone, scream into it for 30 minutes after each game. That beats breaking TVs any day of the week. All right, with that being said, I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for utilizing the Anytime Hotline. It's so much fun. 856-442-9805 is the phone number. Before I let you out of here, WinView is the nation's leading sports predictor, allowing you to compete in pregame or live contests against other people, not the house. So forget about researching trends and over-under spreads, all that. Forget about salary caps and daily fantasy. This is just answering questions, and if you answer those questions correctly, bada bing, bada boom, you're getting money into your pocket. You should absolutely check it out. WinView.tv/Broads. The link is down below in the bio. And I've been playing this for a couple of months now. I'm addicted, and I'm winning all the time to the point where Christmas was easy on me, spoiling my fiance, getting some things for my brother, my family. It's all because I keep winning on this app, and I'm bringing in all this money because I'm answering the questions right. And then there you go. I'm buying myself shoes. It really is ridiculous. Take advantage of it. Give it a shot. Give it a try. They have promos right now, doubling your deposit bonus for a first-time user. You deposit $50, you get $100. If you deposit $100, you get $200. It's a no-brainer. WinView. Just check it out. Answer some questions. Give it a shot. You got football coming up on Sunday, NBA games, NHL when they come back from the break. It's a no-brainer. Give it a whirl. With that being said, I want to thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.